welcome one, welcome all to the September meeting of the IGDA New Jersey chapter. Thank you guys for coming out. I know it's a nice sunny day outside. There's lots of something going on outside, so appreciate you guys making it out. We got a pretty nice agenda for today, a couple feature presentations, and we just want to kick things off with a little bit of a welcome. For those of you guys who aren't familiar, the New Jersey chapter is the part of the International Game Developers Association, a group that gets together, discusses games, eats pizza, and tries to help each other get jobs. So moving on to our feature presentations, Mike Sweeney of the illustrious Slingo Inc. is here to talk about the design process behind Slingo Mahjong. Mike, take it away.
So I'm here to talk about the design process of Slingo Mahjong and the origins of it. Slingo is a company, we've got a user base mainly of women 35 plus that like Slingo, the game. They like Mahjong games. And we were needing a new, innovative game. So we took a look at Mahjong games, like Mahjong Escape, Mahjong Quest, Luxor Mahjong, Mahjong Garden, and Caribbean Mahjong. And each of those is a screenshot from each of the different ones, and they're fairly all the same game. There's some of them have their own little twist, but it's mainly the same exact game. So then we decided, could these games meet Slingo? And the first thing, since Slingo is a game that's played on a 5x5 grid that's like a bingo card, can Mahjong be played on it? And after lots of discussion, it wasn't very likely. You can't make a nice Mahjong layout with 144 tiles in 25 squares. Can the items be drawn in with a slot machine mechanic, which is the other primary aspect of Slingo gameplay? And after much discussion, we decided it was a possibility. And then, can we add any of the legacy characters from Slingo into the game? There's a devil, a cherub, which affect your points, and a joker, which is a wild item. And we decided we could try. So we started to duct tape things together. The devil and the cherub, since they affect points, after our much discussion, Mahjong solitaire games, it's really not about that score that you have at the end. It's more about if you complete the layout and remove every tile from the board. So we decided they're not really going to cut it. The joker. This was the big debate. Because a Mahjong tile set is made of matched pairs, and you have a wild card. You use a wild card to match something. You no longer have a matched pair. You have a lone tile that's remaining out. So it would throw off the balance, and we decided, no, wouldn't work. And the slot mechanic, we figured out it could be used, but it was going to take a little work. So that sent us on the quest to create the slot mechanic. The first thing was we needed to find a Mahjong tile set in the US. This was a lot harder than it sounds. After scouring pretty much any store that may sell one in this area, nothing. We finally came across one on Amazon that we had shipped and found out that it actually shipped from China. So the next thing was we had to overcome the hideous smell emanating from the package. There was a strange odor that when we opened up the box, poured out, made wherever this thing was smell terrible. And then we finally started to create physical game models. We took tiles, and if we used this in the real set, and if we made layouts with these tiles and that tiles, and we finally figured it out where if we took a number of the tiles and placed them into what's going to be the level layout in a traditional Mahjong solitaire style game, and used the other tiles to bring in with the slot machine mechanic, we actually had something that could work. So that left us into some layout creations. The first thing we started with is during our research, we found a commercial game that had a layout editor. And we tended to be, this is really nice. We see how many pieces we're using. We've got all the layers that we're using, so we used that. Then we brought it into, printed it out, and had to mark it up because we were bringing it into a nice XML file where we were laying it out. And after all of that, it would turn into something that looked a little like this. Then we had to add a little more Slingo to the game. Slingo, you get a Slingo by matching 5 numbers in a row on that 5x5 matrix. Well, in Mahjong, the probability of you actually having 5 tiles side by side that you would be able to match was next to nothing. So we decided, okay, instead of making them next to each other, how about just in a turn? And that gave birth to a match meter where it would display you match this tile, you'd match this tile, and would reset when you took a spin or needed a hint. And then the other thing was free spins. Slingo also offers you free spins, which is a real element. Not a real element, but a real element. But because of the way we had the tiles laid out between the layout and the reels, we couldn't add this as a real element because it would be taken from that array and never be seen again. So we decided if a player could clear the reels that they were given, they would be awarded a free spin. And then all of this brought us to our nice, very first build. I was a big fan of the art that we used. And we found out that we were able to match tiles, and it worked. We were able to take spins, and it worked. So it gave us time to focus on the interface and add more fun. So a few days later, it looked much like that. And we added some features. We added scoring, which is a little thing that people would like to see. We added a timer to add a little bit of tension to the game. We actually were able to add a hint function fairly quickly, where if a player is stuck, they were either told which tiles they can match or they need to take a spin. We also were able to limit the number of spins the player was able to take, which is a fairly large mechanic from Slingo.
Is this no longer 5x5?
This is no longer 5x5. It's more of a Mahjong style game with Slingo elements as opposed to a Slingo game with Mahjong elements. And if you didn't notice, we updated some art assets. I think that's a little bit. And we actually came up with an easier template for creating layouts. And then we still had some issues, which were the tile height, where Mahjong, you're stacking tiles on top of each other. There were problems with, we couldn't see, is this tile on top of another? Is it higher? Is it higher? So that was a key thing we had to work on. And again, more fun.